and anyone that has backed up the police. Really, it's affecting you that much. Yeah, sit down. All right.
What's up, everybody? Wednesday to Wednesday here. We got Derek with us back.
How you doing? Good to be back.
Carson had a fill-in for you.
I know. It was a
last
good
time.
one.
So
Good video.
I missed this last week.
Yeah.
Just missed it.
Yeah.
It happens.
It does. You've been posting a lot lately though. This and the travel stuff.
Yeah, on the Blaze and Confused channel.
Yeah.
So
yeah. A lot of good stuff. Check it out if you haven't.
So we got a great episode today. It's a true story that took place in Arkansas.
True crime.
True crime. It's a story that we covered on the other podcast, Sorry Got Weird.
Yeah.
But it hasn't seen the light of day yet.
Nope.
So we decided that we're going to do our version of it.
Yeah.
On this one.
Yeah. Different format too. I mean, with Sorry It Got Weird, on that particular one, there were 4 of us.
Yep.
It was you, me, Chris, and the other Derek. And it's pretty much the same material, but I think the reaction of everybody to everything is really impressive and makes for good listening.
Yeah, because you're the one that told the story.
Yeah.
And we didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So the reaction, because it is a out there.
It's crazy
story.
Yeah.
This will probably be a 2-part series.
At least. I wanted to touch on that. What I did was I couldn't find my original notes, so I transcribed the audio from the Sorry It Got Weird recording. So I apologize for the glare of the lights in my glasses and me looking at my phone, but that's where my notes are. But it is kind of a long story. It's roughly an hour of material.
Right.
But I want this to be as free form as possible. So if you want to chime in and comment or have discussion about any part of this at any time, go ahead and do it. As many episodes as it takes.
Right.
I'm fine with that.
The story's just good. And it just, when you think it's over, it's not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of those, it has been covered quite a bit on YouTube. You'll still find videos on it here and there. And almost everyone that I saw that covered it opened with them stating, I'm sane. I don't want to do harm to myself. I'm happy because it's very dark and a lot of people that touched this story, especially from a investigative reporting aspect, ended up dead. So,
and there's a lot of fatalities in this story. So we're saying right now, we don't wish harm on ourselves or anything.
Yeah.
But it is a story that they did a documentary on it, Murder on the Tracks, I believe it was called.
There's actually been 2 or 3. The one that I'm familiar with that discussed it from back in the day, I believe was called the Mina Connection.
Connection, that's right. Yep.
But you'll see books and other things covering it called The Boys on the Tracks or Murder on the Tracks, that kind of thing.
Before we dive into the story, this is in your old stomping grounds.
Yeah, to a degree.
And if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, but you went to the same school that the kids in the story went to, so you kind of have that.
Yeah.
Didn't know them.
No, I didn't know them personally. But yeah, we went to the same school system.
And you went after, right? It was long after they went.
Yeah. Well, we were in the same school system at the same time, but they were in high school and I was in junior high.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then you eventually, of course, went to high school.
Yeah.
And when you were in school, you've heard stories
Oh yeah.
of it.
Yeah, when it happened, it was a big deal. Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, and I'll touch on that a little bit here and there.
Cool, dude. Let's do the deep dive on this.
Okay. All right. And you mentioned deep dive. There's a lot of information here, but when I gathered the information, I did look at a handful of sources just to see how the information compared, and it was pretty much consistent. I haven't done a real deep dive, but just because there's so much information. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's a
there is.
doozy of a story. So this took place in 1987. I was about to begin my seventh grade year at Bryant Junior High, and everyone that went to Bryant at that time, remembers the story because it was such a big deal. On August 22nd of 1987, right before the school year was going to start, in Alexander, Arkansas, which is adjacent to Bryant.
Okay.
Okay, a lot of students at Bryant lived in Alexander.
And Bryant is
Bryant,
closer to Little Rock.
yeah, Alexander is actually closer to Little Rock than Bryant, but it's central Arkansas.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, Little Rock is the biggest city out there.
Just give a map of where. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Don Henry, he was 16. Kevin Ives was 17. They were both about to begin their senior year. And one night they left to do some late night hunting into summer. And the next day, on August 23rd at noon, Don's father, Curtis, received a call that the boys were found shot and tied to railroad tracks. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Remember that.
Yeah.
Shot and tied to the railroad tracks.
Yeah, and that's the information he was given. He contacted Kevin's mom, Linda, and they both met with the police at Don's house. The police informed Linda that there was no indication that the boys were shot. So what he had heard was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to sort things out and get all the facts. Eventually, the police tell them the boys were run over by a train at approximately 4:25 a.m. The train was going 50 miles an hour and dragged their bodies for over half a mile. 19 grams of cannabis was found on Kevin, and the official story from the police was that the boys were high and either died accidentally or killed themselves in a suicide pact. The parents, however, were not convinced. Now, the Saline County Sheriff that gave the official story, his name was James Steed. He conducted the initial investigation. The crime scene was not taped off, and it was not treated like a proper crime scene. In fact, not all of the body parts were collected. And I remember hearing rumors as a kid about how a shoe was left on the scene after they investigated, and then it was retrieved later. Another account states that one boy's foot was left at the scene. So there's a good chance that those stories are both accurate,
Right.
and the foot could have been in the shoe.
Right.
So it's a gruesome scene, but it was not handled like a proper crime scene at all. So Curtis, who was understandably upset, asked a hunter friend to go and examine the tracks himself. And this guy went out and he found very little blood on the tracks, and it didn't look like evidence of the boys being hit by a train. I'm sorry, I'm going to lose my place from time to time. The train conductor said that they saw a dark spot on the tracks about 10 to 15 cars ahead of them. And when the train was approximately 100 feet from the spot, the engineer, who was named Schroyer, blew the whistle and hit the emergency brakes. He said he saw two young men lying between the rails, and there was something covering the boys from their waists to just below their knees. Some people say it was a tarp, and I had always heard it was a tarp. The boys were lying side by side, motionless, and their arms were by their sides. Dr. Fahmy Malik. Okay, and if you're not familiar with that name, you will be.
That's right.
He was the state medical examiner at the time, and he conducted drug tests on the boys. It took 2 weeks for him to conduct the drug tests on the bodies. He says there was no alcohol in the boys' systems, and he ruled out that the boys were rendered unconscious. Or I'm sorry, he ruled that the boys were rendered unconscious and in a deep sleep on the railroad tracks under the psychedelic influence of THC when the train passed over them and caused accidental death. There was no mention of the lack of blood at the crime scene. There was no mention of the color of the blood either. Rick Elmendorf, the chief deputy in Saline County, said the only thing they had ruled out at that point was foul play. And he made that point in public statements. He said, no foul play, 100% certain.
That's another key to this story to
Yeah.
pay attention to.
Yeah.
The no little blood, because if you get hit by a train, I would imagine it would be a bloody mess.
Mm.
If they were
think so.
alive when it happened.
I would think so.
So
Yeah.
just hang on to that.
So
also.
that's crucial to time of death
Yes.
determination.
Yep.
Yeah. 1988, Saline Memorial Hospital gives their report of the scene. Paramedic Shirley Raper stated that blood from the body parts observed was dark in color, which would indicate a lack of oxygen in the blood, posing a question of how long the victims had been dead.
There you have it.
Yep. Staff noted a lack of fresh blood that is typically found at trauma sites similar to this one. Shirley Raper also stated that while she was attempting to drive the ambulance out of a secondary road, she came across a pickup truck that was occupied by 3 people. She just observed that in the area, and there's no description that I found of the truck that she described. It should be noted that police investigators and county coroners have state involvement with other cases where their findings countered Dr. Malik's found findings, such as this one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some discrepancies in a history of it.
And kind of right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah. And in one case in particular, Malik had ruled a shooting as a suicide when the investigators and coroner ruled it as an accidental death. Malik, just a side note, had helped Bill Clinton's mother avoid legal scrutiny in the death of one of her patients in a medical malpractice lawsuit. And at that time, Clinton was governor of Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. And if you've ever dug into the Clintons,
yeah, that's a whole other can of worms.
That is a whole other can of worms. But
yeah,
just saying. But, and I want to live.
Yeah, yeah. Clinton and his board refused to fire Malik, even with 4 years of public criticism. After a grand jury overruled Malik in the Ives Henry case, Clinton hired 2 out-of-state pathologists to review Malik's work. They gave him high marks and said he should get a raise. The 2 pathologists were paid $20,000 from Clinton's own discretionary fund. Clinton then sent a proposal to the legislature to raise Dr. Malik's salary by 41.5%. 3 weeks before Clinton announced his presidential candidacy, he pushed Malik to resign. The Clinton administration then found him another well-paying job in state government. So, however competent this guy was, he was taken care of.
He was very well much taken care of.
Yeah.
Because he did what they wanted him to do.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds like it. Seems that way.
Allegedly.
Mm-hmm. Now, the parents, of course, complained the deaths were never investigated as homicides, and they hired an out-of-state pathologist at $200 an hour. They never received a bill from the pathologist. He never repeated any of the original tests or conducted any new tests, and stated his findings agreed with Dr. Malik. The parents also obtained court orders authorizing the release of all data, information, and tissue samples from all agencies involved, as they wanted second autopsies conducted. The state crime lab, however, proved to be an obstacle in getting these results. The parents were told by experts and other authorities that nausea and other discomforts would prevent a person from smoking enough marijuana to be rendered unconscious. They were also told that the boys would have had to have smoked as many as 20 joints prior to 4:25 a.m. for this to occur.
Which is an extreme amount.
Yes.
And I don't see any teenager or anybody smoking 20 joints in that time frame.
No.
I don't think Willie Nelson or Snoop Dogg.
Those two might be the exception.
20 joints though in that amount of time
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah. And that's a point that of course a lot of people chime in on in comments to videos and comments online. They're like, even if I just smoked a crazy amount, there's no way I would lay down on train tracks.
No, and what's the purpose of doing that?
Yeah.
The only purpose would be that I can think of is them saying, well, I can outsmoke you.
Yeah.
But after you smoke a joint or two or whatever, at what point you're like, this is dumb. Why?
Yeah.
And why would you waste all that? Because weed back in the 80s wasn't like you can buy now.
Yeah.
So why would you waste your whole stash
Yeah.
on that?
Yeah.
Something's fishy.
Yeah. Something doesn't add up.
Nope.
And it should be noted too, I've never seen any reports state exactly how much THC was in their system from the autopsies. I've never seen anything saying,
So there's no official report.
Yeah, there's nothing to either confirm or deny or match up with what they say happened.
So this is just allegations at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah. On February 8th, 1988, Curtis and Marvell, let's see, this may be a typo, but the parents of the two boys stated they were going to seek a grand jury investigation. The Saline County Prosecuting Attorney's Office then held an open investigative hearing. Richard Garrett, deputy prosecutor, felt it premature to call a grand jury investigation and felt that it could be handled in state. Just like everything else so far.
Right.
It's pretty much been handled in state. 32 witnesses were subpoenaed. That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
That's a lot of witnesses
Mm-hmm.
to something like this. Prior to the results from the grand jury investigation being received, a deputy prosecutor was named by Garrett as he believed the deaths were indeed homicides, and Dan Harmon was assigned as special deputy prosecutor. Okay. The grand jury investigation takes place. The bodies were exhumed, and an Atlanta medical examiner, Dr. Joseph Burton, conducted a second examination on the remains. He found that the boys had only smoked a few joints before their deaths. He stated that Don Henry had been stabbed in the back, and Kevin Ives' skull had been crushed prior to them being placed on the tracks. 6 of Burton's peers agreed with his findings. On September 9th, 1998, the grand jury finally ruled the boys' deaths as homicides.
So right off the bat, the authorities try to cover a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something way more sinister that happened into the story. The going back to the whole joint thing, a few joints makes a lot more sense than 20 joints. And to say that these teenage boys smoked 20
from consuming it standpoint,
right, right,
a few is more realistic than out there just
than that. So it's like, with a lot of these stories, when they sit there and it's a cover up, they go above and beyond on the story to make it more believable. But the more they go on about it, the more they're just kind of digging their own grave.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with authority and power, especially within the state,
there's never just one lie.
Right.
There can't be.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's hard to take on people like that because there's so many people involved.
Yeah.
And if they're taking lives already,
they
may take yours too.
Funny you mentioned that.
There we go. Segue.
Now we're getting to the good part.
Okay, there you go. Let's do this.
And if you're taking notes at home, flex your fingers, rest your hand, because it's about to get crazy here. So, May of 1988, a person named Keith Coney dies. He had seen Don and Kevin the night they were killed and placed on the train tracks. He told his dad that 2 officers had killed the boys before they were placed on the tracks. He said he saw it happen and that the police were responsible. 2 days after revealing this information, his throat was slashed by an attacker, and while trying to flee his attacker on a motorcycle, he lost control and it crashed. No autopsy was ever performed on his body, and his death was ruled as a traffic accident.
Mm-hmm. The first one that they had a silence.
Yeah, as far as we know.
Oh, it goes more.
Yeah. November 10th, 1988, Keith McCaskill, an informant in the train deaths. And this is a person that had been subpoenaed. He was found in the carport of his home, stabbed to death about 113 times.
Which, that takes a lot of hate.
Yeah. Yeah. He was covered with a curtain, and he had recently told friends that 2 police officers were following him, and there were also rumors that he was involved in the murders of the boys. He had stated to friends that if the county sheriff lost the election, his life would be over. He had made his own funeral arrangements. He had said goodbye to his family and friends, and his body was found 2 days after the Saline County Sheriff lost the election. Nothing inside his home was disturbed. Robbery was not a motive, and the police believed that it was unrelated to the case of the boys. January 22nd, 1989. Greg Collins failed to appear after being subpoenaed to testify before the Saline County grand jury. He was found in the woods with 3 bullets in him. He had been murdered by a shotgun blast to the face. March of 1989. Bonnie Bearden, I'm sorry, I mispronounced it the first time and I did it again. Booney Bearden is this person's name. He disappeared. He's never been found. An anonymous caller led investigators to an article of clothing of his and claimed he was murdered in that location. Booney was also a friend of Greg Collins and Keith Coney. So it's kind of interesting. There's some interesting connections.
See what's happening now? Any potential witness is just...
Yeah. April 1989. Jeff Rhodes tells his family that he knows too much about the murders of Kevin and Don.
I keep yawning. Don't take it as disrespect. We were up last night, well past 1 o'clock with tornado watches and warnings, so...
He was frantic. He made plans to head for Texas. A week later, he's found in a dumpster in Benton, where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And he had also come down with a case of a shotgun blast to the head.
Mm-hmm.
His hands and feet were partially sawn off, and his remains were set on fire. His motorcycle is found on the side of the road with the kickstand down, like he stopped for somebody. July of 1989, Richard Winters was shot and killed. He was a convicted thief who was briefly a person of interest in the murders of the boys. Just before he was found dead, he offered to share what he knew about the boys. He too died from a shotgun blast to the face.
Mm-hmm.
This time it was in a robbery that was later proven to be a setup. And I don't know the details of that, but kind of an interesting side note. Late of 1989, James Milam was found decapitated in his living room. His head was nowhere to be found, but the medical examiner, Malik, claimed that Milam died of complications from an ulcer. And...
Now, wait, let's just stop right there.
Okay.
It's these details that make this case so damn weird.
Yeah.
Okay, dude has no head.
Yeah.
No head.
No.
But died of ulcers.
Nowhere to be seen.
Like that's not even trying to come up with the good story.
No.
Or motive or nothing.
No. It's like write something down so we'll have paperwork. It's like what it is. Yeah. Well, it gets better. Malik claimed that James Milam's dog, which was a small dog. I don't know the breed, but it's specifically stated as a small dog. Malik claimed that his dog ate his head and later when his head turned up in a garbage can a few blocks away, Malik stuck to his theory and said the dog probably regurgitated it up. So,
oh my gosh. Yeah. So now I do know if someone passes away in the house, there's nobody there, you have animals, eventually they're gonna eat the body because they're in survival mode.
They're animals, yeah.
They're not gonna, for one, a small dog, even a big dog, is not gonna eat a whole head, regurgitate it into a head, which is physically impossible. But it's not, if it starts chewing on the head, it's gonna chew on the legs. I mean, all over. It's not gonna be. No dog's gonna be like, I just want the head.
Yeah, can't wait to get some of that head meat. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Now, before James Milam died, he said he knew things about the Mina drug operation and the boys' murders. So, June of 1990, Jordan.
Well, hold on one second. See, this is kind of the first time you brought it up, is the Mina drug.
Yeah.
There was a lot of trafficking.
Yeah.
Of drugs coming from that area.
Yeah.
And again, there's plenty of documentation of that out there, especially on YouTube.
That's all been out there for a while,
right?
And Tom Cruise was in a film where he portrayed a gentleman named Barry Seal, who flew, and did drug drops. As part of the Mina drug operation.
So that ties in.
Yeah, from what I hear, the movie with Tom Cruise is somewhat lighthearted and humorous. I don't know how dark it gets. I haven't seen it, but yeah. And there's going to be a lot more about Mina in here. June of 1990, Jordan Kettleson is found in his vehicle, dead from a shotgun blast to the face.
So now in the story, we're 3 years into this.
Yeah.
From 87 to 90.
Yeah.
And people are still passing from the same.
Yeah. A lot of people, mostly from shotguns. He allegedly had information about the murders of Kevin and Dawn and was possibly linked to the McCaskill stabbing. There was no police investigation, no autopsy, and his body was cremated quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 1993, which, I mean, to give you an idea of how long this is taking, like you said, I mean, I was in junior high when this happened. 1993 was my senior year. Okay.
There you go.
A witness who would have been 13 at the time of the murders said he witnessed the killings and saw Dan Harmon, the prosecutor, and two other men kill the boys. And this particular witness stated he knew that it was Dan Harmon because Harmon was dating his mother at the time. The police and FBI didn't take his account seriously, but this person was put into witness protection.
You can't make this shit up.
No, it's crazy. Another witness, Charlene Wilson, claimed the other two men were Keith McCaskill and a man named Larry Rochelle. She was an addict who was hanging around at the tracks and witnessed the homicides, according to her. Now, this is coming from an addict.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know if what she's saying is true or not, if there's some kind of deal she's trying to get. But this is what she claimed. She claimed that she stabbed Don, but only superficially and not enough to kill him. She also complained that she supplied a green tarp to wrap around the bodies. Not long after giving her statement, she was busted on drug charges. The prosecutor in her case was Dan Harmon.
Mm-hmm.
He pushed for the maximum sentence of 30 years, which she received, even though it was her first arrest. Her confession about that night was not released publicly until 2015. And she came forward in 93.
So, and that one's different because she didn't get the shotgun.
No,
but they put her away for a long time.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you think if she witnessed it, why they just assumed that we were all going to say, oh, she's just a crackhead, she doesn't know anything?
That's what I'm guessing, because I didn't see anything about her dying. As far as I know, she was put in prison, and that was it.
I wonder if she's still around.
I don't know.
She could be.
She could be. It would be interesting to see,
because she would have served her prison sentence by now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, when was that? 96?
93 is when she came forward, and she was put away shortly after that. So 30-35 years. Yeah, she'd be out by now, or close to
barely.
It, or close
yeah,
to
yeah,
it. Yeah. Charlene Wilson quoted in an interview that was later released in 2015. The people at the track that night, to my knowledge, were Dan Harmon, Keith McCaskill, and Larry Rochelle. I do know that the boys were watching the drop site, and they got curious as to what was being dropped there. And that quote came from one of the documentaries. This particular documentary is called The Clinton Chronicles.
There's the name Clinton's again. Yep. And I want to live.
Yeah. Yeah, as do I. Mike Samples, another grand jury witness for Don and Kevin, was shot in the head, and his body was not found for some time. Some sources claimed he participated in drug pickups from drugs dropped from planes in the area. Authorities deny any connection to the murder of Kevin and Don. Now, this particular item is what really grabbed my attention about this case, especially when I got a little bit older. There was a documentary about this. I believe it was called The Mina Connection, and it was put together by a man named John Hillier. He was an NBC cameraman who had started investigating the case, and his findings were released as The Mina Connection. I believe you can view it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. It's very compelling and just as outrageous as you can imagine. The documentary, if I recall correctly, ends with the statement that he was found dead under mysterious circumstances. But luckily, it was still released.
So, when did you leave your area? What year?
Well, I graduated from high school in 93, and I went to college in Conway the following fall.
So, from on your perspective of it, did you ever realize just like, oh my God, how many people are being shot and killed? Or
no, and that's kind of something we discussed back in the day, or when we talked mm-hmm. about it with the Sorry It Got Weird guys. I remember the crime. I remember the boys being found and everyone at school, being upset. And it wasn't anything to where we were like freaking out saying who's next, but if you didn't know the two boys, you at least knew someone who did. Right. It was that small of a school. It was still a big school, but fairly small, it wasn't like Little Rock or anything like that.
Right.
So there was a sense of sadness, and I remember that lingered for a long time. And then, of course, as things were put off and ridiculous explanations for what happened to the boys came out, there was a huge sense of anger from everybody.
Going through the emotions.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in the Bryant school systems that was there at that time, no doubt, remembers this. But as far as I mean, it's almost like the end of Goodfellas. All the people involved with this certain heist start getting whacked left mm-hmm. and right. As far as when those events started happening, I'm sure it was in the news, but it wasn't one of those things where everybody was openly talking about it, and understandably so.
Right.
Right. I'm sure a lot of people had their suspicions, but I don't recall, and it's probably just because I wasn't in a lot of circles that were close to the case. Mm-hmm. I don't recall a lot of talk about it. There could have been some speculation in news reports, but I would imagine a lot of that was kind of kept on the down low. I imagine they're like, okay, the official word is these aren't connected, and they probably went on from there because they valued their lives and their jobs.
Yeah, and that's after the first time I heard this story, one of my thoughts were like, okay, if I witnessed something like this, would I dare come forward?
Yeah.
You know,
especially when little by little you're getting information that the police are involved.
Right, and it's like you're not going to win this.
Yeah.
So it's just like, as much as I bet these people wanted to come forward because to help solve this.
Yeah.
But when they start,
it's like, okay,
dropping.
My local police, my local law enforcement is involved. They had something to do with it. It just doesn't seem right. The investigation was done in a terrible way, shoddy. And anyone that has backed up the police. Really? It's affecting you that much? Oh, fuck. Yeah, sit down. All right.